Thanks, Vian. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to give you an update on the Phenophase project. Many collaborators in this project. I will try and pull them in at the right places through the next 5 minutes. The project's aim is really to investigate the significance of temperature on apple and plum flower phenology. I want to start off with a rather complex diagram showing the annual phenology of an apple tree. And you will see it all starts with, wrong button. It all starts with bud break and bloom in spring, and then fruit set and fruit growth, and then the harvest. And whilst that is happening, there's also vegetative growth in the form of spurs and short shoots and long shoots on the tree. When those two processes have been completed, when you think of the hierarchy of sinks, you will see that roots start growing and secondary growth happens. Then there's a bit of a lull period with dormancy and winter period. And then as the soil temperatures start increasing again, we see roots growing again, and then the process repeating itself with bud break again in spring. The reason why I'm introducing this is I want to emphasize that the bud break that happens in the season, those flowers are actually present already for 10 to 11 months prior to bud break. When those spurs and shoots and long shoots stop growing, the buds, either lateral or terminal, will form, the buds will actually have the opportunity to induce flowers. Flower initiation can happen as early as 1st of January in spurs. And then those flowers develop for that entire period up until bud break. So it only makes sense that we want to investigate temperature through this entire period as it grows through the different seasons, and look at the effect that the temperature has on the timing and the quality of the bud break. So how do we go about doing this? We need data, and this brings me to the first collaboration. Estienne has just introduced to you the FEB, or the Pro-Hort EcoFizz platform, which is a Hortcrow funded open laboratory managed by Provar, Evan and Annika being very instrumental there, where we've got 10 genotypes of apples, 10 genotypes of plums, planted in 3 distinct areas. And over the last 6 years, they've been collecting temperature data on this, hourly temperature data in the locations, as well as detailed bud break data for reproductive and vegetative bud break. So we've got 2 complete data sets here. How do we go about comparing and understanding how temperature influences the bud break? This is where you call in the experts. And I did just that. Towards the back end of last year, we had a workshop where I got all the experts together, and we came up with 3 objectives of how to do this. The first one is simply looking at chill model evaluation. Use our data, run it through the known chill models, and see which of these models for these genotypes in these areas, 2 different crop types, predict bud break the best. We do this in collaboration with Professor Eike Lederling from Bonn University, and we also want to take it a step further and use his PhenoFlex framework, which really just has a back end of a chill model and a front end of a spring heat model, the growing degree days model, and in between some clever mathematics with a sigmoidal transitional function where he takes into consideration both the cold as well as the heat needed for bud break. Our second objective is to dive in deeper into that relationship between the temperature and the bud break. We want to take our 2 data sets. We do this in collaboration with Adriaan van Niekerk from CGA, Stellenbosch University, and Tara Southey. We take our data, we plug it into a computer, mix and stir the pot, and let the computer, through clever machine modeling, whether these are random forest regressions or PLS regressions, show us the relationships between the temperature and the bud break. We know that these relationships are not necessarily cause and effect, but they can definitely sift out a lot of red herrings. Our last objective is to look at environmental profiling. We've got some temperature information on these localities, but again, with Adriaan and Tara's help, we want to really profile these environments, add more with TerraClim, add more climatic data, identify these areas, and then try and use that information to find other areas in the Western Cape that can be used. And yes, with those three objectives, we want to use temperature and we want to use phenology and really make that a workhorse for industry to make scientific decisions about fruit production. Thanks.